I'm Ivy Monroe, and this is Curiosity Chronicles. Did Lizzie Borden really kill her parents with an axe? Let's explore the hidden facts and jaw-dropping theories you haven't heard. The axe, the rhyme, the trial. But what if we told you that everything you think you know has been twisted by time, rumors, and fear? This isn't just a tale of a woman accused of butchering her parents. It's about a broken home, hidden motives, and a verdict that still haunts American history. This is the Lizzie Borden story you haven't heard. Lizzie Andrew Borden was born on July 19, 1860, in Fall River, Massachusetts. Her father, Andrew Borden, was wealthy but notoriously frugal, even though he could afford much more. Their home lacked indoor plumbing, despite being surrounded by relatives with far grander homes. Lizzie and her sister Emma lived under strict rules in a house filled with tension. Their stepmother, Abby Borden, was not well liked by the daughters, and the family dynamic was cold at best. Lizzie was active in church and the local community, often teaching Sunday school and hosting charity events. But behind the polished image, resentment simmered. Neighbors would later recall how Lizzie often seemed brisk and cold. She was known to have a temper, especially when discussing her stepmother. Some believe Lizzie viewed Abby as an intruder who replaced the mother she lost at age 2. Emma, older by nearly 10 years, was quiet, obedient, and protective. The sisters shared a bedroom into adulthood, and some believe Emma played more of a maternal role than Abby ever did. There were even whispers among townsfolk that Andrew Borden's tight control over the household bordered on oppressive. By 1892, the Borden household was teetering on the edge. A dispute over a piece of real estate Andrew had given to Abby's family triggered a bitter feud. Lizzie and Emma were furious. They saw it as a betrayal, and one that could cost them their inheritance. Emma left town to visit friends just days before the murders, possibly to escape the rising tension. Lizzie stayed behind. On July 31st, 4 days before the murders, she had a heated argument with her father in the kitchen, overheard by the maid, Bridget Sullivan. Bridget would later say she'd never seen Lizzie so angry. There were also rumors, quiet but persistent, that Lizzie had a secret romantic relationship with an actress, something scandalous for the time. Some speculate that Andrew found out and threatened to disinherit her. Could this have been the final straw? In the days leading up to the murders, everyone in the Borden home reported being sick. Abby feared someone was trying to poison them and even visited a doctor. Lizzie, meanwhile, was spotted at a local drugstore attempting to purchase prussic acid, a powerful poison. The clerk testified that she claimed it was for cleaning a sealskin cape, but he refused the sale. That visit, combined with the household illness, sparked a new theory. What if the axe wasn't the first murder attempt? Some modern historians now believe Lizzie may have tried to poison her family before resorting to violence. Others think the sickness was real but unrelated, a coincidence that became deadly context. On the morning of August 4th, 1892, the Borden home became a crime scene. Abby was killed first, sometime between 9 a.m. and 9:30 a.m. She was found upstairs in the guest room, struck 18 times with a hatchet. Her skull was crushed, her face nearly unrecognizable. Andrew returned home around 10:45 a.m. and was murdered while lying on the parlor sofa. He had been hit 10 to 11 times, primarily to the face. One eye had been split in two. Bridget, the maid, was outside washing windows. Lizzie claimed she was in the barn loft looking for fishing equipment, but police found no disturbed dust or footprints in the loft. Her story changed several times, and neighbors later reported seeing her burn a dress in the kitchen stove shortly after the murders. When questioned, Lizzie appeared oddly composed. She denied any involvement, but her evasive answers and calm demeanor only deepened suspicion. The police were baffled. There were no signs of forced entry, and the killer would have had to navigate a maze-like interior without leaving blood tracks. The community reacted swiftly. Newspaper headlines screamed, "Bloody deed," and "Woman murderess?" Crowds gathered outside the Borden home daily. Reporters from Boston and New York descended on Fall River, turning Lizzie into a household name. Detectives were also suspicious of Bridget. Why didn't she hear anything? Why did she say she was resting in her room during the second murder? Some theorists believe Bridget may have seen something, or even helped, but remained silent out of fear or loyalty. Even the family doctor, Dr. Bowen, came under fire for possibly shielding Lizzie. He was a neighbor and friend of the Borden family, and his testimonies were vague and, at times, contradictory. Meanwhile, local women were divided. Some believed Lizzie was guilty, but brave. Others defended her fiercely, seeing her as a victim of a patriarchal system that didn't understand women with independence. Lizzie's trial began in June 1893 and lasted 13 days. The courtroom was packed daily. Women wore mourning veils. Reporters filled the gallery. The nation was obsessed. The prosecution focused on Lizzie's inconsistent statements, her attempt to buy poison, and the burning of the dress. But they had no eyewitness, no bloody clothes, and no confirmed murder weapon. The defense, led by former Massachusetts Governor George Robinson, painted Lizzie as a God-fearing, respectable woman incapable of violence. They argued that no woman, especially one of Lizzie's background, could commit such a grisly act. The press was overwhelmingly sympathetic. Headlines like "Innocent until proven guilty" and "Lizzie's dignity shines through" created a media narrative that leaned in her favor. Some even compared her to Joan of Arc. When the skulls of Andrew and Abby were shown in court, Lizzie fainted. That moment became a turning point. Sympathy shifted. The jury, composed entirely of men, deliberated for less than 2 hours before returning a not guilty verdict. One juror later remarked, "She doesn't look like a murderer." In many ways, Lizzie's acquittal was less about the evidence and more about what society was willing to believe a woman could or could not do. Despite being cleared in court, Lizzie was never truly free. She and Emma moved to Maplecroft, a large home in the wealthier part of Fall River. Lizzie changed her name to Lisbeth and tried to rebuild her life, but the town never forgave her. She was excluded from church events. Neighbors crossed the street to avoid her. Rumors followed her everywhere. In 1905, Emma abruptly moved out. Some say Lizzie had become erratic. Others believe Emma discovered something that shook her. Lizzie was accused of shoplifting in 1897, and though the charges didn't stick, the damage to her reputation was irreversible. She died in 1927 of pneumonia, alone, and estranged from everyone she once knew. Emma died days later in New Hampshire. They are buried side by side, under the name Borden, a name that still chills the air in Fall River. To this day, speculation swirls. Some believe Emma was involved or knew the truth. Others suspect Bridget the maid may have snapped under pressure. A few even blame a mystery man, perhaps an illegitimate child of Andrew's seeking revenge. Modern forensic experts have re-examined the case, pointing out the lack of defensive wounds, the trajectory of the blows, and the psychological profile of the killer. Many now agree the killer likely knew the victims and acted in rage, not impulse. Gender and class played a major role. In the 1890s, a proper lady was not expected to be capable of murder. The corseted, clean image of womanhood did not fit with the savagery of the crime. That mismatch may have helped Lizzie walk free. The story of Lizzie Borden continues to haunt pop culture. The house is now a bed and breakfast that hosts ghost tours. TV movies have depicted her as a killer, a feminist, and even a victim of abuse. Artists and musicians reference her name in everything from goth rock to graphic novels. And of course, there's the rhyme. Lizzie Borden took an axe. It's become part of American folklore, chanted on playgrounds, printed on t-shirts, and used to sell horror. But behind that catchy verse is a complicated, unsolved mystery. And a woman whose story was never as simple as it seemed. So, did Lizzie Borden get away with murder? Or was she the perfect scapegoat in a town ready to blame a woman who didn't fit their mold? The truth might be buried with the hatchet. But one thing is certain. You've never heard the Lizzie Borden story quite like this. If you enjoyed uncovering the twisted side of history with me, hit that like button to subscribe for more strange stories every week. And share this video with someone who thinks they know the full story. Because here at Curiosity Chronicles, we dig deeper. Until next time, I'm your host, Ivy Monroe, and stay curious.